right. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be talking about Women at Google, one of Google's largest employee resource groups. My name is Elise, and I'm the global head of women's community and programs at Google. And just to set the stage, we're going to be using some acronyms today like ERG, which stands for Employee Resource Group, and Women at, which is the short form for Women at Google. At Google, we currently have 16 employee resource groups with more than 250 chapters around the world. And these groups work to provide community and personal and professional development opportunities for Googlers from communities that are traditionally or historically underrepresented in the technology industry. Today, we're super excited to talk to you about Women at Google and share some of the work that we do and how it fits into Google's overall ecosystem. So with that said, I'm really excited to introduce some leads from two different chapters of Women at Google here at the company. So Erica and Lila are going to be joining us for this conversation and would love for you each to say a few words about yourself to introduce yourselves. So Erica, we'll start with you.
Thank you for the introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Erica, and I'm a senior program manager at Google on the developer relations team, which is part of our engineering department. And when I'm not executing on my core role, I provide about 10% of my time co-leading career development efforts for the Women at Google New York community. I am passionate about communities. I've been both a member and a leader of various groups in the past. And today I'm really excited to share more about my experience with this Women at Google community.
Perfect. And hello, everybody. My name is Lila Jones, and I lead a sales team in our cloud division. So much fun. And when I'm not executing on my core role, I spend about 10% of my time leading our Women at ERG here in Chicago. And I am so incredibly grateful and thrilled to be able to represent that team and group of people because I'm super passionate about enabling underserved groups and making sure that women find their voice and that we're there to connect with each other. And so I've chosen to do that and spend my time working with that group. Excited to be here.
Thank you so much. And I love that each of you sharing what you work on and what got you excited to play this role. Would love to hear a little bit more about really what inspired you to join Women at Google and take on these leadership roles. What motivated that? Lila, I'll kick it over to you.
Absolutely. So to kind of build on what I had shared before, as I mentioned, I've always been super passionate about working with underserved groups. And when I had an opportunity to be at the forefront and really add my voice and my perspective and also enable some of the teams that are around me in both programming and events and uplifting opportunities to not only build career, but also take care of the person inside, it just seemed like a natural fit.
I love that.
And for me, I got involved with Women at when I worked in the Google London office. So I've lived and worked in different countries and been at different offices around the world. And it was really a way to network with other women when I moved to London. And then after 3 years in London, I moved to Singapore for a new job role there. And I didn't know anyone in the Singapore office or even anyone in Singapore for that matter. And so I wanted a community right away. So I joined the Women at community there. And while in Singapore, I became passionate about communities within my job, but also outside of work. And through my job role, I was focused on helping students learn to code, how to code in Indonesia. I even had the chance to lead a workshop for a group of women learning how to build their first apps, which was really fun. And so outside of work, I also I co-founded a community for women in tech called Geek Girl Meetup Singapore. And eventually I wanted to expand my leadership skills and focus on supporting the community of women at Google. And so I ended up joining the leadership team in Singapore and co-led the career development efforts. And after 4 years in Singapore, I then moved to New York. And even though I had some friends in the office, I once again wanted to connect with more women. And so I quickly joined the leadership team there and decided to continue my efforts within the career development space as I'd done in Singapore. So across all of my moves, across different countries and teams at Google, it's been really comforting that I've had this constant of being part of Women at Google.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Erica. What a cool journey of being involved in different chapters around the world, too. So most employee resource groups start as a really grassroots efforts within the community, people coming together and wanting to find others who have similar experiences. And I'll share a little bit about how Women at Google got started. There was initially an email alias many, many years ago, women engineers wanting to connect with one another. And after a bit of time, it started turning into people getting together for lunches, bringing in speakers, and really some more formalized programs. And it's now one of our kind of more robust groups with 120 chapters all around the world in 52 different countries. And we center around a few different pillars: career development, culture of inclusion, really creating that environment where everyone feels they belong, and community. So I'd love to hear from each of you a couple of the favorite events or programs that you've run in the chapters that you help lead, to really give an example of what that looks like in practice. So Lila, maybe we could start with you and hear a little bit about some of the events or programs in Chicago.
Absolutely. So I get a chance to co-lead with an amazing co-lead that recently worked with us on a virtual shopping event. So we had an opportunity to engage some of the community women-owned businesses for the Christmas season and really provide not only an internal site for people to buy their products, but also a meet and greet virtually that they shared a little bit about their passion and why they were excited to work with some of the Googlers. And so that was a lot of fun. We also recently had our Women's Summit, and the theme was We Rise Together. And that was a wonderful mix of not only speakers, but also programming that focused again on mental health, also focused on being able to expand your career. And we really take the feedback that we get from our members to make sure that the programming aligns. And so I've also gotten a chance to participate in a couple of I Am Remarkable events. And what we call I Am Remarkable is a wonderful, really 20% project from another amazing woman that focuses on helping women and underserved groups understand how to promote their strengths. So those are just a small sampling of some of the things I've gotten a chance to take part of, but there's really so much more rich programming. And that's besides the community and the people being able to participate in some of those things is really awesome.
Super fun, Lila. I love the community you've created in Chicago, and cool example of bringing in women-owned businesses locally for that shopping fair. And our ERG actually helped our Google Maps team create a women-owned business sign as well. So maps can show kind of women-owned businesses. It's another cool example of how we've gotten involved in the technology and products, and loved the summit and all that activity too. And getting to bring more women into that than maybe even would have joined before because it was all virtual was super cool too. So thank you. Erica, how about you?
Yeah, I love the I Am Remarkable sessions. I've attended that in the past in the New York office, and I loved it. It was a beautiful experience and hearing from everyone. For me, something I really enjoyed organizing recently was a resilience workshop for the women at New York Community. We learned ways to cope with stress during difficult times, and the power of gratitude. We wrote gratitude letters to people, and more. So that was a really useful session. And I've also enjoyed organizing monthly career lunches. We invite inspiring and successful women from across different industries to share more about their career journeys and share tips and how they overcame challenges. So that's always been really inspiring, and it's always fun to meet these women and be able to ask questions directly, and also hear from different industries, hearing from lawyers and career coaches and authors. And lastly, I enjoyed a couple of trainings on personal branding and tips for managing your LinkedIn profiles. I actually hosted this session in Singapore years ago, and I brought the same speaker back to do the same session for the Women at New York group, and found it helpful. And I'm actually still using some of those tips to keep my LinkedIn professional profile updated. So really enjoyed it. And I love working on career development because I'm also learning, and there's so much that I can learn, and also supporting other women in the community with some of the same things that I'm also looking to learn.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Erica. Those are really awesome examples around the profession and professional development opportunities that this space and community has provided. And resilience in particular after the year that we had in 2020 is super timely. So thanks for focusing in there. Lila, next question is for you. I'd love to hear what's been one positive impact that leading an employee resource group has had for you personally.
I am a huge fan of connection. I've already said that word, I think, 3 times in this very short interview because I think connection with others is what drives us, no matter where we come from, no matter what our roles are. That's the one thing we all have in common. And I really feel like when you have an opportunity to connect with your authentic self to other people who can identify with you, you can overcome any challenge, you can overcome any obstacle, and you really do bring your best self to whatever that issue or challenge or workplace connection might be. And so I love being able to meet new people who are joining with Google, who are coming from companies that don't have a culture anything like this. I love being able to connect them and engage them in the different things that we're doing. I also love being able to hear from those of us who've been around for a little while and are talking about how do we start then to think about that next role or that next move. And then finally, as a mom of 2 children, it's always so great to connect with other moms. One of the best things, and I know you only asked one, but I'm giving you more. One of the best things I got was a list from one of our other Googlers on 13 things you can do within driving distance of Chicago with your family that don't cost money during COVID. So all of those things really kind of go back to connection for me. And that's been really awesome.
Beautiful. I can feel that so much, and that resonates super deeply for me. I love getting to meet women in all these amazing roles across the company. It's so cool and such a value. All right, Erica, given Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful, I'd love to hear how you see Women at Google as an ERG really adding to that mission.
Yeah, so I definitely think the Women at Google community has added to this mission. And one way is by ensuring that girls and women have access to computer science information through various outreach efforts. In New York, we organized activities around Made with Code and also hosted an Hour of Code session with girls in the past. And really, there are a lot of trainings, free trainings, and code samples, code labs, and resources online. And so it's really important that we make this easy to find for everyone, including girls and women. And actually, this is top of mind for me because this is part of my job role. And what I often do is refer developers to all of these resources regularly.
Awesome. That's so great to see. We definitely need more girls and women in the technology industry. We're working hard to do that at Google and more broadly. So awesome to see you all leveraging and amplifying those efforts. All right, the last question of the day is, what do you think makes Google a great place to work? Erica.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely the people. I've remained really close friends with people I met at Google 14 years ago. I had just joined, and actually, all of my friends at the time also joined right out of college. So it was my first job, and so it's really been great to keep those connections. And with my current role now, I mean, really everything I do is in teams. And so it's really critical to have good collaboration and teamwork skills. And so that's what I find at Google. I'm really grateful that I'm able to work with this team of great creative problem solvers. They're collaborative, they're smart, and they're also fun. We like to have a laugh from time to time as well. And it's been really fun to meet people's families and their dogs. I've been showing my dog on screen recently, and so we like to have a laugh, and it's really just fun to work with this group of creative and friendly and collaborative teammates. So for me, it's definitely been the people for the last 14 years.
Love that. Definitely the people are amazing. How about you, Lila? What would you say?
And of course, the people and the connections that you get with those people. I mean, all of that, in my opinion, equals Google's culture. The idea that even as you're coming out of one of our cafeterias, at least pre-COVID, you see signs that say, go forth and prosper. The idea that we're taught about how to eat properly. We're taught about how to sleep properly. We're taught about how to have better relationships. I've never worked for a company that was so focused on the whole person versus just the results and the output of that person, and understands really the connection between the two. And so it's been very eye-opening and a wonderful learning experience for me. And again, just to be a part of a culture that, again, is so focused on people, but has also got some of the most smartest, amazing, beautiful, kind people that I've probably ever met, all working together to solve for some of the world's largest issues. It's just awesome. And so I'd have to say now, I'm going to put it back over to you, Elise. What about you?
Wow. Well, I definitely would have said people too, but to share something different that also really resonates with me, it's around the ambitions we have to make the world a better place. I really feel that technology has helped solve some of the world's biggest problems. And while we've got a lot more work to do as a society and as humanity, that we really have those ambitions to make the world a better place, to think big, to set really aspirational goals that we might not be sure how we're going to tackle, but to really kind of aim for those moonshots, knowing that we can make amazing things happen together. And to me, that's really inspiring. And to work with then the talented, passionate people to make those things happen is a reason to get up every day and come to work.
Right on.
So thanks for
Fantastic.
being that back. Yes. So hopefully everyone has gained a little bit more insight today on how Women at Google works and what we're all about. Thank you.
Well, hey, thanks everybody for tuning in today. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, folks.